Well, hey everybody, welcome to the John Campea YouTube channel, and this is, of course, our weekly Game of Thrones review for episode 4?
Yeah, man.
The Spoils of War, episode 2. Of course, joining me over here is Kaori.
Hi, everybody.
Right over here is Campea.
What's up, everybody?
And I have said this every episode so far, but again, the best episode of the season.
I know, right?
I just think unbelievable. Okay, so we're going to talk about the things we loved about it, maybe some of the things that maybe we thought could have done much better, although I can't think of any off the top of my head right now. And then we will go from there. Spectacular episode. First of all, the whole episode starts off basically where we left off last time. We've got Jaime and his army, and he's got Bronn there with him.
Hell yeah.
And now they're taking all the gold to go back to Cersei so she can pay it to the bankers. So, and that all, the setup just felt good. Then the war comes and Cersei's bragging to the bankers, and then we've got all the things in the Dragonglass mines. And anyway, so let's start with you, Kaori. What are some of the things that really stood out to you about this episode?
I mean, so much stood out to me.
Yeah.
First of all, Daenerys is so adamant about the bend the knee thing. That actually isn't a positive, but it's kind of funny that there's ongoing jokes about it. But the big one that we is the battle and the dragon coming along and being used to kick Cersei's butt.
Her ass. Yes.
Yeah.
I'll just say, like, because I tweeted this out, but I mean, this episode really drives it home. Dany becoming a straight up dick.
Yeah.
Like seriously, she's becoming insufferable. Like she's really, look, she's got a good heart. Let's not get that wrong. She's got a good heart, but it's all becoming so much about her. Like for her, everything is about her.
Yeah.
Now, it's becoming more and more like that. And even when they go down into the Dragonglass mine and Jon Snow shows her as much proof as you can in Game of Thrones, like they don't have great forensic science at the time, but as close to proof as you can, like the ancient writings on the wall, the White Walkers and the
pretty
Night
much
King
like them.
coming, it's all kind of showing her that the fate of mankind is at hand. And the only thing this dick can think about is, okay, well, I'll help save your people and my people and all people. But no, this is still about me, so bend the knee.
Yeah.
It's like, you stupid dick. Like, it's like, it was great. It's a great scene.
Yeah,
and
up
I
to
love
that point, though.
And I love that they're doing that with her character, that she's not just like all fair lily white and everything, but it's like, I am getting infuriated with her and how everything's about her. And then later on, it's like, oh, let's see. Tyrion says I shouldn't fly dragons and start melting people.
Right.
Jon Snow, King of the North, says I shouldn't do that. All my advisors say, yeah, I think I'm going to do it. And she goes and does it. It's like, she becomes straight up dick. Anyway, and let's move over to you. Some of the things that really stood out to you about this episode.
Granted, Jon Snow out of the, steered clear of the advisement of his own people and went to go see her. So, I mean, there is some pride and some stubbornness amongst both of those characters.
That's a good point.
Yeah, but the core of his going against his people is, I need to save the human race.
Yes.
So I need to do this.
True.
Not, I need to everybody bend their knee to me.
There is a big difference.
There's a big
That
difference.
is true.
Yes, the motivation is different.
I mean, I think you guys said what I was going to say is that we finally see the dragons in action fighting in a war. But I think even more so what stood out to me is another Stark reunion when we saw Arya and Sansa.
Oh, yes.
That was a really touching moment as well. And then finally seeing all of those siblings back together. Was so crazy.
And Jon's not even there yet.
And he has no idea that all three of them are together right now.
He's going to come home and find out not one, but two of his siblings that he thought were dead.
Yes.
Two of them are going to be back there, which is
crazy.
Which is pretty
And
crazy.
one of them's got the big old secret that, he's going to reveal, I hope, really soon to Jon.
Oh, that he's...
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, his lineage, that's going to come in handy.
I would love to see him tell Dany, now you bend the knee.
Now, the question is, by the time he finds out that him and Dany are related, will he have had his finger in her bum?
I don't think
that was last week's episode.
Oh, that was last week's episode,
Yeah,
right?
but
Does she like a finger in the bum?
Sure.
Does Dany like a finger in the bum? Okay, so what other things like stuff stood
I like
to you?
the little, because for such a kind of serious show, in some sense, I like that they introduced Dickon as Dickon. I don't know. I'm 5 years old, but I just found that super funny.
Bronn was laughing like a little girl. He's like,
he was so cute and funny. It was really clever. So I mean, there was that.
Yeah.
I mean, I really like too this whole notion. First of all, Bran is. I'm really starting to find him really cool.
Which one? Oh.
Like the more that he's kind of becoming like kind of despondent, it's like blah, blah. But you told me about a theory that's going around about him. And I am now completely bought into the theory. What was that theory?
Oh, was that Anne that told you the theory?
yes.
Oh,
The theory is that the old man that Brandon encounters.
The three-eyed raven.
Right. The three-eyed raven is in fact Brandon in the future. And they've just interacted, him present day as well as him in the future.
It's a Back to the Future moment.
That'd be crazy.
I mean,
it makes sense.
And I feel, you know what? I feel like this is one of those things where everybody already knows that theory, and I'm the last one to find out about it because I heard about it. I'm like, that makes total freaking sense. It sounds so cool. Okay, now let's talk for a second about, so Arya shows back up. Yeah. Her and Sansa have a great reunion, both up on the ground and down in the catacombs. They had a wonderful reunion. That was great.
Yep.
But then Sansa's up in her little, queen perch, and she sees Arya come up and basically challenge Brienne Tarth to a duel. That fight was pretty great. That whole awesome. Beginning of the fight when she's not even using her sword, she's just dodging everything. Yeah. It's like, okay, this is pretty damn cool. What do you think about that scene?
But even before that, just the conversation they had about Littlefinger was really interesting in terms of the siblings talking about, he only gave you that if he had a purpose to give it to you.
And they all knew it. They're like, yep.
Yeah. So there was a reason why he handed that sword.
That doesn't really matter because I'm not keeping it. And he hands it right back, which is pretty cool.
Right. I love that dialogue. But yes, again, Sansa has no idea what Arya's been through. And just that scene alone with her and Brienne fighting was like enough to prove to her that Arya's been through some shit. And she knows what's going on, and she's a fighter.
They've had very different but equally very rough roads to get to where they are. Anything about that whole sequence of scenes that really stood out to you?
Well, for me, I would say the one thing, I know I don't want to get ahead, but the one small negative for this is I didn't feel like the Stark reunion was as heartfelt as I wanted it to be. And
like
I don't know what it
bigger.
was.
They could have done something bigger.
I don't know what it was, whether it was how it was created or just we knew it was going to happen. I don't know, but it felt like, I'm not as excited as I thought I'd be to see the three of them together.
Well, they already did kind of the one with Bran coming back. And I think they're still setting up for the big one, which is when Jon Snow comes back.
Right.
Then it's the big one. Then all the surviving Stark kids or adopted Stark kids, as the case may be, will finally all be together. And that's going to be a big monster scene. One of the things that stood out to me about this episode too is that one of the problems of having so many, like over the years, so many great characters. One of the problems is that you can go seasons or months without seeing many great characters. Bronn. I love Bronn. Bronn is so great. And I really wanted to see him and Tyrion. Yeah. Tyrion sees his brother, sees Jaime, but I was really hoping that Bronn and Tyrion would have a moment there too.
I'm sure they will though.
Yeah. Because their connection is so great. But I love that character, and he's like, he doesn't want to be the guy to go and use the giant crossbow machine. He's like, he goes, why don't you do it? I only got one hand. I can't fire. Fine. So he goes there, dodges dragon fire like 10 times.
Invincible, this guy.
Loads it up, and he's the first guy in this show to bring down a dragon.
That's true.
Yes, he's the first guy we get to see bring down a dragon.
I actually pictured that a little differently. I just thought all along that since Cersei was the one that was trying to figure out how to kill the dragons, that she would actually have the pride in actually hitting a dragon for the first time. But she wouldn't be in war. So it was just one of those things where I was like, Cersei's just getting her way. She can do that.
And I will give credit to Dany, even though she's not my current favorite character. She is one of the only queens that went out and fought with the soldiers.
Well, the dragons will only go. She can only control the dragons if she's there. Otherwise, the dragons may start eating her own Dothraki or something like that.
I will say though that there was a point. I mean, the war scene was so good that I had moments where I was like, "Who's gonna die? We might lose Jaime right now. We might lose Daenerys right now."
Yes,
and it was just so thrilling to watch that scene. And the one problem is Dany. I was like, you gotta take your dragon back because he's gonna die. He gonna die. So,
but the funny thing is, there's probably a lot of you guys right now saying, "Oh, come on, they're not gonna kill Dany. They're not gonna kill Jaime." Like, I'm sorry, this is Game of Thrones, folks. Like, you just don't know. They have made a habit out of killing people out of nowhere when you least expect it. Like the moment they killed the Papa figure, Ned Stark, as soon as he died, I never thought they would have killed him. He was the main reason I watched this damn show, and I almost didn't watch season 2 because because they killed off my favorite character.
That actor is also cursed. He dies in everything.
Kill him in everything.
Poor guy.
But I mean, they bring down a dragon. It was a shoulder shot, so you knew the dragon was going to die.
Thank goodness.
But it was so cinematic the way they shot that, where Jaime's like, I've got a shot to take out the enemy queen right now. And He knows the dragon's still alive.
Yeah.
He probably knows that even if I take out this queen, I'm probably going to then get snapped up by the dragon.
Yep.
He was willing to die to try to end that war right then and there. So off he goes on his horse, blah, blah, blah. And who saves the day? Bronn.
Yeah.
Bronn saves the day again, taking Jaime. Although I do find it hard to believe there was a 40-foot puddle of water right beside the dragon. So, I mean, that was where, but that scenes with when the dragons were like flying overhead and spit roasting like 100 guys at once. The fire comes down. It's like, oh, maybe they'll block the fire with their shield. No, the fire consumes everything.
Yeah.
And they're like falling to ash. It's like, oh my God, this is terrifying. This is awful. This is the type of vision that Tyrion and Jon Snow were afraid of. It's like, you don't want people's impression of you to be the queen that comes down and rains down fire from the skies and melts and destroys people. But she did it anyway.
She has a crazy Targaryen side.
She almost lost one of her dragons in the process. And now she knows Cersei has weapons because that was just one. You know, King's Landing is just going to be littered with those things now. Like
everybody on the street has one.
Everybody. It's like Oprah. You get a giant spear thrower and you get a giant spear
thrower. As opposed to the Hobbit where they only had one and they had one bow left.
Where they had one arrow. No. They're going to be
one shot
everywhere. Like every woman who threw a tomato at her walking through the shame scene, they've got their own. They're going to have their own giant crossbows, and that's me. So clearly, Jaime doesn't die. They show him falling down into the water, but it's like, come on, if they were going to kill him in that scene, it would have been the dragon or something like that. So, he makes it, Dany makes it. I'm going to go 20%. 20% that dragon dies as a result of the wounds.
That's a lower percentage.
20. So I think the dragon's going to be fine, but I'm going to go, maybe not fine, but I'm going to go 20% that maybe the dragon dies.
I think he's definitely going to be unable to fly for quite some time.
Yes.
So out of commission.
So they're going to be down to 2 dragons for a while. We'll see how that all kind of points itself up. But the question is Bronn and Jaime going to get away? Or in the midst of all the chaos, because the battle's still raging, are they going to be able to slip away in the chaos? Or are they now going to be held captive? And are they going to have to do a prisoner exchange at some point to try to get? I mean, I don't know how they're going to
I think Jaime's going to get captured.
So?
I thought that the whole time that was going down. So I feel like they're going to take him. It's a good prize, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a really good prize.
And Cersei also has some prizes on her side too.
And they do have Tyrion also, so it'd be really nice to see Jaime and Tyrion kind of share their brotherly love because they've always loved each other.
You know what'll happen? Because remember, Tyrion was waiting execution, and Jaime's the one who let him go. I wonder if there's going to be a little bit of payback if Jaime's now in the prison and Tyrion's like, I've got my commitment to the queen, but you're my brother and you did let me go facing certain death. So I wonder if that kind of scene is coming too. I mean, there's so much possibilities
I know.
that they could be doing. I got to tell you, I got nothing as far as things I think they could have done better with this episode.
I got one.
Oh, what's that?
Theon.
Oh, I forgot about Theon. Yeah.
I feel like that falls on my negative now again.
Really?
Only because he lost his purpose again for me. I don't really know
How
what.
So?
I guess now that he's been broken back to who he was before, I'm not really sure what his role is going to be in the war. He's back.
I mean, right now he's just trying to get his sister back.
Right.
That's his best way of redeeming himself for now.
And you know what? I think he's going to become a significant. He's going to play a significant role. And I wouldn't be surprised if at some point, because remember, he was raised with the Starks. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him included, with the sword when it's all said and done, because Sansa's forgiven him. So that's all done and clear and good at this point. So, and Jon, at least Jon goes, look, it's only because of what you did for my sister. So he knows what he did to keep his sister alive and to rescue his sister. So he knows that. He's still pissed off because he thinks Bran's dead.
Yep.
But he's going to find out that he's not. So I think we've got a bigger path, even though we only have 12 episodes left in the entire series.
Stop saying
but
that.
I think we've got some open roads still ahead. Anyway, that just about covers almost everything for me. Do you guys have anything else jumping off the top of your head?
I mean, I think Theon's gonna die. I think that his best way of saving his soul from being so tainted and being a pussy at this point is he's gonna have to like sacrifice himself for a Stark.
I know.
Oh,
Right?
for a Stark.
Yeah.
Not just
Probably.
for a sister, but maybe for a Stark.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool. Okay, guys. Well, listen, what were some of the highlights of this episode for you? What were some of the weaknesses that we didn't see that maybe you saw? And what do you think of some of the theories that we had about what might be coming up? Do you think that Jaime's going to be captured and ultimately Tyrion is going to be the one to let him go? I don't know. Jump down to the comment section below and leave us your thoughts. Hey, guys, want to let you know, in case you didn't know already, I have started a Patreon page, so you can find the link to my Patreon if you want to become a supporter, since I do this channel now full-time, making 70 to 90 videos per month for you guys. So if you want to support me there, you can click that link there. Also, make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel. Follow me on Facebook or on Twitter, simply at John Campea. Kaori, where can people find you?
And you can follow me, Kaorious, on all that social media stuff.
And of course, Ann Campea, where can people find you?
You can find me by my first and last name, Ann Campea, on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
And that'll do it for us, guys. We'll be back again next week for the next episode. What the hell's going to happen next for Game of Thrones? Thanks
More
for joining us,
dragons.
guys. And until next time, bye-bye.